Now, this is a film by Gore Verbinski, who hasn't been around for, I think the last film he directed was a film called The Cure for Wellness, which I remember Shaun watching and Shaun quite liking. It was a bit weird. But I also think he did he's had like a weird directorial thing, because I'm pretty sure he directed the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, The Curse of the Black Pearl. I'm pretty sure that was Gore Verbinski. But it's, yes, Holly, please check that up for me. But anyway, so this is him firmly back on weirdo territory. And so what you have is that you have this film kicks off, and what you have is you have an American diner. You have an American diner, it's a night, it's filled with all sorts of different people, and then Sam Rockwell shows up looking like a cross between, like, he looks like he's been living on the streets, and he looks like while he's been living on the streets, he's also made himself some sort of weird contraption suit that has all sorts of different things in it, has a button on it, and he comes in, he informs everybody that this is not a robbery. Look, I'm from the future. I've done this 117 times already. This is my 118th time round. And yeah, I am correct. Thank you. That Gore Verbinski did direct Curse of the Black Pearl, which he's got a weird directorial thing. And so he comes up and so yeah, he says that this I've done this a number of times, and he says there is a combination of people in this diner that's going to help me stop the apocalypse that I live in. So the apocalypse that I live in is where an AI has taken over, and it gets created tonight by a boy who lives, like a 9-year-old boy who lives like somewhere in that distance, and I need a right combination. I've tried so many different combinations. I've tried this 117 times before. We fail all the time, but I think I feel good about tonight. And so obviously people think that he's crazy, and they're trying to call the cops, and they're trying to attack him or anything, but he knows everything they're going to do. He knows what they're going to do. He, like, without looking, he goes, "Put that phone down, Sheila," or whatever her name is. And so he goes, "Okay, this time we're going to go with this bit. And so you have this, so you end up with this group, this motley crew that he puts together, that's made up of regular names that you've noticed. So people like Zazie Beetz and Michael Peña, and Haley Lou Richardson is in there. Asim Chowdhury, for anybody who remembers People Just Do Nothing. He plays Chabadi G. He is in there doing what I think is an American accent, but I'm not entirely sure. Whether there's times when I was like, this could be just like a British guy who's been living in America for a while. This could be, no, that's a bad American accent. No, he's actually English. There were bits where with his accent I wasn't too sure what was going on. And yeah, and this film at its best, this film is like a Shaun of the Dead type caper. At its best, it's that kind of thing. Okay, we've got to get from this place to this place. This is going to be a motley crew. Things are going to happen as we're going along, and people are going to come along. But don't worry, we're going to get through it. And in this way, with this group of people and they make it believable that they would go with him. Oh, I forgot, Juno Temple's also in it. Juno Temple's part of the motley crew that goes with him. And they make it believable this group of people would go with him. And at its best, it's like a Shaun of the Dead type thing. And at its worst, it's like the ending of Matrix Revolutions, where the architect shows up and starts talking, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, yeah, where you get that feeling that I'm not sure the people who are making the film are sure what is going on right now, but they're just throwing the dice and see how it goes. So this film goes between those two, like bits that I really, really enjoy, bits that are a bit weird. And as they're going across this town to try and to get to this kid, you have flashbacks that show you a little bit of like the life of some of these people. So like people like Michael Peña and Zazie Beetz are teachers who work in a school where the kids are constantly on their phones, and then something goes weird and the phones seem to start trying to control the kids. And there's like a whole thing about, phones making teenagers zombies and all that kind of stuff in there. And I guess that's supposed to be satirical or anything like that, but there's that bit in there. There's a bit to do with school shootings, and honestly, this is one of those things where my jaw just sort of hit the floor when it became apparent that what they were talking about was a school shooting in this section of the film, and the way people were reacting to it. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? And then when you realize why people are reacting that way to the school shooting, you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And apparently this started off the idea as a TV show, and you can kind of see how they would have had like almost like a Lost thing, where each episode they'll follow one of these motley crew and they'll tell this story and they'll go into this different area and all that. And there are some ideas in there that I find quite funny. There are some ideas that I heard it referred to, that each one of these things is almost like a mini Black Mirror episode when you go into the past of them. And I was enjoying it. But as it goes towards the end, there's a bit at the end where it kind of goes into like, a CGI maelstrom of nonsense and all that kind of, and where it loses a little bit of weight, and also the conclusion of the film, without spoiling anything, the conclusion of the film, the way it ends and what it made me wonder. I was watching it going, hang on, but if what you're hinting at is the case, doesn't that mean that the entire endeavor of the film is pointless? So it's a weird one. It's a weird one that if you want me to spoil, I'm happy to let you know off air what it is. But I think it's something that is worth watching, and then I'll tell you, well, this is what they seem to be saying, and if that's what they seem to be saying, then doesn't that mean that that the whole thing's pointless? And so it's one of those things. I'm not sure whether and this is what I talk about, like, with the whole Matrix thing of when the architect shows up and starts spouting nonsense, and it makes you wonder, is there actually a point to it? You're trying, but do you know what you're saying, or you just, oh wow, what if we do this? I don't know, that'll end the film. Yeah, let's do that. and so all in all, I mean, I would give it a 3 out of 5, because as I said, at its best, I thought it was funny. I thought that the bouncing of Sam Rockwell, bouncing off this crew with Juno Temple and Zazie Beetz and Michael Peña and Haley Richardson was great. I think that there's some of the imagery, like, because Haley Richardson, for some reason in this film, is in a princess dress. Like, imagine if you have somebody who goes to a kid's party dressed to entertain the kids as a princess. She's wearing that, but she has this, it's an image that I love. It's a princess dress, but with Doc Marten boots. and I just love that image. And there's a bit where they really sort of frame that image. I'm like, and so there's all these different things. You're like, okay, why is that happening? What's going on here? And at those bits, I really liked it, but I don't quite think it sticks the landing. And I think that the longer it goes on, because it's over 2 hours, talking about people will not be able to make films shorter than 90 minutes long anymore. The longer it goes on, the more you're like, I don't really think it's almost like you've talked yourself into a corner. You don't know how to talk yourself out of it, and by trying to talk yourself out of it, you've rendered the entire story pointless. And so, I would give it a 3 out of 5. And to answer our other question, which we ask with everything in cinemas nowadays, do I think you should watch this in the cinema, or should you wait and watch it until it comes up on streaming? I would say watch it in the cinema. I think it's quite cinematic. I think it's quite good, and I think that even for its flaws, it's a good cinematic experience. It's a good, and there will be bits where you'll be like, what the heck? And there's and there are also some images that are nightmare fuel, especially if you're a cat lover. Nightmare fuel. Don't worry, Holly. Nothing bad happens to cats.
As if by magic, a cat appears next to me.
Yeah, nothing bad happens to cats. If anything, cats are the ones doing bad things to people. So it's like.